Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Motive Racing TV. We are here at Sakitto, otherwise known as Suzuka. For the more polished motor racing fans out there, will know that this is supposed to be a recreation of Suzuka, the famous Japanese Grand Prix circuit in Japan. It looks pretty similar, apart from a couple of out of place hills and mountains that you see very close to the track that aren't there in real life. But regardless, we are currently watching a qualifying session for our Tier 2 racers here tonight. It should be a fascinating spectacle out on the track, and currently we've got Chris Pissock leading the way at the top of the leaderboard. He's got actually quite a large lead at the top as well. It's 7/10 of a second he's got in hand over J Palm. He's currently running on 1 minute 39.2. Now we've seen in practice most of the guys here at Motive are in the 1 minute 38s, 1 minute 39s in the Tier 1 division, so it's not a bad time from Chris to be up there in the low 1 minute 39s. Obviously there's still 5 minutes left to go in this session, so definitely more time for him to get that time up. We're just noticing on the front of that car there is a headlight that has gone walkabouts there, so I'm not exactly sure what's happened with that. Maybe a tap with the wall. Only visual damage on for Tier 2 here for our GTE Championship as he hits the wall coming out of Degner 2, and that is his lap done. J Palm is currently out there on a time. It's J Palm is our man currently in command in the championship for Tier 2. He's got a 10-point lead at the top, currently in second place in the championship. We have got, I think it's, let's double check on this one. I think it might be Camber in second place in the championship, and then it's, I'm pretty sure it's Camber in second, and Chris Pissock in third. So J Palm, current championship leader here in Tier 2 for Motive Racing's GTE. He's coming through the middle sector up towards Spoon Curve now. Let's see how he takes this one. This can be well and truly a breaker. The entry is essential, but also the exit as well, because it leads to this long back straight, which then goes into the flat out left hander of 130R. So yeah, it sets up your whole last sector, gets set up due to your exit out of Spoon. It's absolutely pivotal to get a nice run out of here, and it looks like J Palm has maximised it and using all the track here on the right hand side as he launches the car into 130R, looking very confident here as he comes up towards what is a chicane in the F1 track, but on Project Cars 2 is a flat out right hander. It really is a high speed section to finish the lap off, and J Palm comes over the line. Let's see what he does this time around. It's a massive improvement, but it's not enough to put himself on pole position. Stays on the front row, 4/10 of a second off for Chris Pissock's time there. Good lap there from J Palm. Currently riding with Bowie at the moment. Looks like Bowie's brought it into the pits, so maybe it was an invalidated lap time there for Bowie, and he's called it a day on that particular run. I'm sure he'll live to fight again here in this session. Currently we're watching the Mutts Nuts here. Currently P6 in this session, 3.2 seconds off of the ultimate pace here in Tier 2 at the moment. But as we said, plenty of time left in this session to get himself up there. Driving the Ferrari 488 can be a tricky one here in the GTE categories. Looking pretty nice through Spoon Curve, not using too much curve on the exit, a very conservative approach, and driving straight down the middle of the track on the exit up towards 130R, using all the track on the entry as you should really, so you can get the best possible run through there. Looks like he's flat out and up towards this last corner, the right hand flat out here. The Mutts Nuts currently sat P6 in this session. Our Scotsman, can he improve? Can he move himself up the order? He comes over the line, and it is a big improvement actually. Goes 5th, moves up ahead of Robbo Baggins. Robbo Baggins is our new driver here at Motive Racing. He's new to the league. He's driving what looks to be the Corvette actually. So Robbo Baggins is a late standing substitute replacement tonight. Good to have him out on the track with us. Also new to this league is Hyper GP Drifter. He's another one of the reserves coming in tonight. He's coming just out of the exit at 130R now and up towards the last corner. Let's see how he does here. Currently in P8, 5 seconds off of the pole time. Let's see if this is an improvement for Hyper Drifter on his debut here at Motive. And it's not an improvement that time around. But still time left in this session. He's got time to get around one more time, so Hyper Drifter potentially with more left in his pocket. Robbo Baggins over the line, and he goes P6, stays P6 even. Looks like he's got a bit of traffic up ahead of him. Not sure who this is, but that looks like they're on a flying lap, so this could be problematic for Robbo Baggins if he wants to move himself up the order. But 6th place is a good starting point here at Motive Racing. It's no mean feat putting yourself in the mid-pack in your first ever race here. The calibre of drivers, even in this Tier 2, is absolutely phenomenal. And we're very, very proud to have such a classy field here at Motive. It looks like he is being held up here by whoever this is in front of him. It is a BMW, so I think it might be Smoky Devil, or is it? It's either Smoky Devil or DJ Phil. It is Smoky Devil. And it looks like in the end he does back well off of it, so I think that Robbo Baggins has given up on that run. Smoky Devil's still out there on a lap time. It looks like Chris Pissock's out there on a lap as well. Current provisional pole sitter is coming through the S's. It looks like J Palm is about 5-10 seconds behind him on the track, so these two contenders for pole position are going to come over the line together here at the end of this session. This is going to be an absolutely fantastic end to this qualifying session here for Tier 2 Round 4 of Motive Racing's GTE Championship here at Suzuka. J Palm looking good there through Degners as we follow Chris Pissock here coming up towards Spoon Curve now. Well, he will be in a few moments time. Let's see how he does this. Let's get the map up and see what the split times are coming into this section of the track. Hopefully we'll get a reading as he exits the corner. See how he takes this one. Not too much curb on the exit. Running it cautious up on to the back straight. He's 0.7 of a second down on his personal best, so it doesn't look like he's going to improve. Let's see what J Palm does. J Palm is 0.2 up so far on this lap, so he's 0.4 off of the pole time, 0.2 up on his personal best. He needs to find 2.5 in this final sector if he wants to get pole position. Let's see if he can do it. Gets a little bit of grass on the inside of 130R up towards the last turn, maximising the entry, taking a very wide berth through there, but absolutely clipping the inside of the corner coming through that last turn. Over the line, what is it going to be for J Palm? It's not enough, unfortunately, for him. Stays P2. Still a solid front row start for J Palm. Bowie out there on a lap time. Let's see what he can do. Exiting Spoon now. Looked like he was being a bit tentative there and on the accelerator. And I don't think he's going to improve on his lap time at the moment. We're going to stick with our Dutchman and see what he can do here as he comes up towards 130. It looked like he was letting off a little bit coming out of the exit of Spoon. As he comes up now towards the final section of the track, this flat out right hander to end the lap. Bowie, our race winner last week at Dubai, he also got pole in that one. Goes very, very wide there out the last corner. What's it going to be for Bowie over the line? Doesn't look like it was an improvement. It wasn't, so it is going to be Chris Pissock starting on pole position for this one, ladies and gentlemen. J Palm lining up alongside him on the front row. Then you've got Bowie and the Mutts Nuts lining up on the second row. Gypsy George and Robbo Baggins on his debut here in Motive Racing, putting in a hell of a shift. Putting it on the third row alongside George. You've got Camber and Smoky Devil. Hyper Drifter, another one of the debutants here, off the reserve list, lining up in 9th with Nathan Rutter alongside him. A disappointing qualifying session there for Nathan. We've got DJ Phil in 11th. Lucky Star, Evo Guy, commentator here at Motive. Unfortunate qualifying session for him, down in P13. And you've got Nif Ravenous lining up at the back, also one of our commentators. So, two of our commentary team lining up at the back in this one. I'm sure they'll be looking to make some inroads here in this race. It is a half-an-hour race, a sprint to the line essentially, with no mandatory pit stop. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you to everybody for joining us live on the stream. And if you want to get involved here at Motive Racing, then all you need to do is go to the live comments section just below this video. I'm going to post it under my own YouTube account name because I don't appear to have hold on, we can't put web addresses. So alternatively, go to our YouTube homepage and there you'll be able to see an icon in the top right hand corner of the page, which will be able to take you straight to our Discord channel, and you can join the races, become a part of the action. Currently our regular driver spots are full for this season. However, you are still able to join as a reserve driver, so put your name down as a reserve, choose the classes, the categories that you want to get involved with, and you'll have a chance here of getting on the track and being one of these boys out on the circuit. As we see, there are still 2 spots in this league, so there was room for other people to get into the league. Unfortunately, weren't able to fill the grid out for tonight for the tier 2s, but we've still got a hell of a race in store this evening. So let's have a look at the comment section, see what these boys are saying here in the audience. We've got Red Reaper saying, let's go Ian, let's go, no corner clips this time, bud. That's Red Reaper there, one of Emo guys, good friends here, voicing his support in the chat. You got the Only G saying, good luck guys, let's get a thumbs up on the stream. The Only G, one of our moderators here on Motive Racing, and the man who pioneered our Discord, pretty much. You got Red Reapers also saying, someone punch in and tell him that time isn't good enough. Let's hope that his race engineer's doing that for you, Red Reapers. Nathan Rutter saying he was eating his tea, and that's why he wasn't able to get in solid lap time in that session. Well, I suppose that's a good enough excuse there, Nathan. I will give you that one. The Only G saying, look at the guys mid-pack when we start. Yep, we're going to have a look out and see what's going on here as we're about to go racing here at Motive, and the lights are out, and that's a terrible start there from J-Palm, getting away horribly. Looks like Bowie got a decent start off of third place, up into second. Looks like J-Palm is now being swamped. Gypsy George looking to the outside here as we come through turn 1. And it looks like we're all pretty clean through there. It looks like J-Palm in the end held off Gypsy George. We see here Camber having a look here at the back of Nathan Rutter. Nathan Rutter, an absolutely fantastic start, getting 3 places off the line. Looks like Smoky Devil's up to 9th. Emo Guy is getting 3 places off the line. He's up into 10th place. You got DJ Phil going a little bit wide there, and a couple of guys going very wide coming through the S's, struggling to get these tyres up to temperature on lap 1. But it looks like Emo Guy avoiding that mess, and he's up into 9th place. Smoky Devil, DJ Phil, Lucky Star, all in the wars, as is Nif Ravenous. And it looks like, oh no, DJ Phil is off. DJ Phil off into the gravel. Lucky Star getting caught up in that as well. So that's a disaster for those boys on the opening lap. Still 29 minutes left in this session for these boys to get themselves back on track. But that is a disastrous start. And in the meantime, Chris Pissock leads the way by 1.2 seconds. He's pulled out the gap here to Bowie. Bowie got a great start, getting off the line perfectly and getting that jump on J Palm up into P2. J Palm unfortunately got a bit bogged down off of second place, our championship leaders. We see Bowie getting sideways coming through Spoon, just about gathers it together, but J Palm's going to have the position on the outside and is up into second place. Bowie losing the place, and he's going to fall back into the clutches here of Gypsy George. So let's ride on board with George and see what he's seeing as we come down this long back straight up towards 130R. George in the slipstream. It doesn't look like he's close enough just this time around as he goes a little bit wide there through 130R. Oh no, Bowie's lost it again, and this time unable to save it. And you see there Nathan Rutter goes by also with everyone else going by, and there Smoky Devil just about swerving out of the way there to avoid our Dutchman. Looks like Ravenous is going to be coming up on him as well in a few moments time. Where is Bowie actually? Bowie, yeah, you can see him in the distance there just up ahead. So he's, oh my goodness, as Ravenous hits the inside of the pit wall. That is bizarre. Well, our regular commentator there maybe caught napping there watching the car ahead and ended up blasting his car into the pit wall. Hope he's alright. That was some hefty whack on the right hand side of that car. But in the meantime, it's Chris Pissock leading the way at the front by 2.2 seconds. He's made a perfect start to this race. J Palm, the championship leader, sat in second place, 2.2 seconds off the pace. Gypsy George has found a way past the Muttnuts. The Muttnuts is really pressuring him coming up towards Stegner. You've got Nathan Rutter and Camber also in the background there. Not too far of this boys also. But it looks like George is facing heavy pressure now from this Ferrari of the Muttnuts. He looks to the outside, but he can't find a way around him at the moment. The Porsche showing that it's got the grip in the slower corners. But here we come up towards Spoon now. Is the Muttnuts going to go for a late braking manoeuvre? Is he going to try and distract George in the mirrors here? It looks like George isn't phased one bit if he is. And for the time being, it's still, as you were, Gypsy George hanging on to the final podium spot here. But this is developing into a bit of a battle here for third place. You've got George in the foreground. The Muttnuts just going past your screen now. There's Nathan Rutter. There's Camber. And Robbo Baggins also closing in on these guys as well. It's 3 seconds separating these 5 drivers at the moment. Other battles to look out for at the moment. It looks like the field's pretty strung out, but J-Palm is closing that gap at the front also. So gap at the front just under 2 seconds now. It was 2.5 at the beginning of that lap. So Camber's actually reeled in Chris Pissock by, well, it says on the timing board by 2 seconds, but that is due to a penalty that's been awarded to Chris Pissock. That's not actually accurate, but nevertheless J-Palm is making inroads as we see Robbo Baggins here is really pressuring back of Camber now. This is the battle for 6th and 7th here. He's had a great start to his career here at Motive Racing as Robbo Baggins made the perfect start here, and he is really really giving Camber something to worry about here. Coming up through the S's now, and in the foreground, both of these boys seem to be closing on Nathan Rutter, running in 5th. It must be said, Nathan Rutter's made a fantastic start to this race. Started down in 10th, he's now 5th. But he is losing time to the Mutts Nuts and Gypsy George, who seems to be battling there. You can see in the distance coming out of Legdegna 2, as we see Robbo Baggins giving Camber a little bit of a nudge there, and you can also see that Nathan is starting to fishtail a little bit. Maybe those tyres starting to get a little bit hot. Maybe does look like he's struggling. The race is set early in the morning here on Project Cars 2 as we see Robbo Baggins running into the back there of Camber. He's going to have to relinquish that position. Camber there off into the gravel. I think Camber maybe, well, I don't know, it didn't look like there was that much in it, but he did lose a lot of time there. That's going to be a hefty penalty there for Robbo Baggins if he does indeed end up becoming a permanent driver here at Motive, as we see there. Oh my goodness, what's happened there? That's Robbo Baggins and Smoky Devil coming together. It looked like Robbo Baggins got sideways there coming through Spoon. In the meantime, Smoky Devil goes off at the last corner into the wall. Oh, he looks like he's got some hefty damage on that car. Very unfortunate to see Smoky Devil there getting sideways coming through the last corner. That's given Nathan Rutter a bit of breathing space here in 5th place. In the meantime though, we've got a good battle developing here between the Mutts Nuts and Gypsy George. These boys have been running pretty much nose to tail for the last few laps, as we see them coming up through the S's now. But George has done a solid job in this race so far of just holding on to the position, doing what he has to do. These boys lapping a little bit slower than the man in 2nd place, Jay Palm. These guys are second a lap off of that true pace here, as we see up through Degna 2 now. It really looks like the Mutts Nuts wants to get on with this, but George has responded a little bit on this lap so far. In fact, George last lap was 4 tenths faster. So it does look like he isn't really holding him up. It's just a genuine battle on pace here between these two boys. But it's going to be interesting to see if George can keep up this kind of defensive work throughout the entirety of this race. He's doing a good job so far, but as soon as the dirty air starts to hit the Mutts Nuts, he's going to really struggle in behind Gypsy George. He really does need to clear him as soon as possible. That Ferrari is all over the back of the Porsche coming up towards the end of the back straight. Can he make a move up the inside of 130R? I mean, it's pretty much out of the question. It's not really an overtaking spot unless you're Fernando Alonso or Kimi Raikkonen. As we come up towards the last turn, it looks like it's as you were. The Mutts Nuts still having to slot in behind Gypsy George for the time being. In the meantime, the battle for the lead is heating up. It's Chris Pissock still holding the slender advantage here over the championship leader Jay Palm. Chris Pissock goes into this race in 3rd in the championship. I think I have to double check this, but I think he's around 15-16 points behind the championship leader, who is Jay Palm, right behind him. So if he can gain 5 points on him in this race, it could give him a chance of coming back at him in this championship fight. The man in 2nd place in the championship coming into this race this evening is currently having a difficult race here so far in this one. But Jay Palm here looks like he's actually dropped a little bit of time to Chris Pissock so far in this lap. They've had to negotiate a bit of traffic there, but it looks like it's all been pretty clean there. It looks like Nif Ravenous getting well out of the way of the leaders as they came round. So it's still Chris Pissock holding on to the lead. Jay Palm was a second faster on lap 4. As we see Ravenous getting wide there onto the gravel and into the wall. He's going to have to be careful of the leaders coming round. You got the Mutts Nuts there, Gypsy George also coming round, and Ravenous returns to the track. Hopefully there's not too much damage on that car and he can continue on his way. But the battle for the lead looks like Chris has responded really well to the pressure on this last lap. He's pulled out a 1.2 second lead to Jay Palm at the front as he comes over the line to complete lap 5. Slower lap there from him, but ultimately Jay Palm did drop off the pace just a tad on that lap, so it's definitely not going to be a simple breeze past kind of manoeuvre here from Jay Palm. Let's have a look at the penalties. So Chris Pissock there with a 7-second penalty from the race director, so that is truly going to shake things up here in this race. it's not going to be easy for him to pull out a 7-second gap to J Palm. He's got 9 seconds to the man in P3, the Mutt's Nuts, but this looks very much like it's going to be an uphill task here for Chris Pissock, our current race leader, with a 7-second penalty from the race director. As we see some comments coming in here, RDJ says he loves the cocoa. Yeah, true, mate. I like Cocoa Pops as well. They're pretty delicious. JR Sim Racing says, go BMW. Currently the BMW is struggling a little bit here. JR, we've got Smoky Devil doing actually a decent job in 7th place. In fact, let's go to that, because it looks like this is a very close battle here. Smoky Devil is all over the back here of our new driver to Motive Racing's GTE League Tier 2, which is Hyper GP Drifter. Let's just call him Hyper Drifter. He is trying to fend off Smoky Devil, but he's all over the back of him here at the moment, not able to shake him off. Smoky Devil, our Scottish driver here, hard onto the brakes into Spoon Curve, but these boys have put some space between them, and looks like Camber has got past Nathan Rutter as well. In fact, yes, he has, as those guys come past the back marker there. That was Ravenous, as we see there, Nathan Rutter getting sideways on the exit of Spoon, and he's put it in the wall, and he's facing the wrong way as well. That is a horror show there for Nathan. This race has been a complete and utter disaster here for our Aston Martin driver. And he's got DJ Phil coming up on him here, coming down the back straight. Can DJ Phil make the move? It looks like he has done. DJ Phil is up into 9th place. But Nathan Rutter having an absolute mare this evening so far. And it's never what you want to see, a driver just not able to get the best out of the car for whatever reason. Really struggling tonight here at Suzuka. But still the battle for the lead looking pretty much good in Chris Pissock's favour. He's got a 1.7 second lead over J Palm at the front of the field. So it was obviously for a while J Palm was reeling him in, but last time around Chris doing a 1 minute 41.3, which is solid race pace, it must be said. That's pretty good, I'd say. He's put 4/10 between himself and Chris Pissock on that last lap. There's 2 seconds on the actual gap, so factoring that in, he still needs another 5 seconds if he wants to win this race. It's still going to be an absolute mammoth task for Chris Pissock to take the win based on his penalty from the race director, but J Palm's sticking with it. He just needs to stay close to him, and he will know that. He'll know that he just needs to stay within 7 seconds to take the victory here at Suzuka for round 4 of Motive Racing's GTE Championship Tier 2. J Palm the championship leader also, so he knows he just needs to keep consistent throughout the rest of this season. Keep his head down, keep grinding out some positive results, and he will get his reward at the end of the season, the Tier 2 Championship, plus a automatic promotion spot to our Tier 1. And the promotion spots for the end of this season here at Motive Racing are limited to just 3. The reason for that is because 2 of our Tier 2 drivers managed to secure an early promotion this season. Harris and Pete both got promoted mid-season due to a couple of dropouts in Tier 1. So the top 3 guys from this GTE League will be moving up at the end of the season. Who it's going to be, we just don't know at this point. Currently J Palm showing the way at the top of the standings. But Camber, who's in... Oh, as we see, there it looks like... that's the back marker. Sorry, that is a back marker, sorry. I thought for a moment that was somebody getting out of the way or getting way out of shape, but I thought that was Chris Pissock, but it looks like it's alright. That's actually Ravenous getting out of the way. Or Lucky Star, maybe. Yes, Lucky Star. Good to see Lucky Star there, moving over, adhering to the blue flags when they're waved. But the gap at the front, still 2 seconds between these boys. What's happening in the background between Hyper Drifter and Camber? It looks like that gap is a little bit more than what the timing board's telling us. The timing board reckons it's 4/10. I make that just over a second looking at it. But a battle is materialising between these boys, because Hyper Drifter last time around did a 1 minute 48. Camber on 1 minute 44. So definitely the momentum with Camber at the moment. Camber came into this race with a 10-point deficit to our championship leader Jay Palm. Currently sat P2 in the championship. He will not be in P2 at the end of this race. At this rate, as we see Hyperdrifter there getting sideways and into the barriers, coming through the last turn. We've got a yellow flag through the last turn. Hyperdrifter is facing the wrong way and in the gravel, crashing in a similar spot to where Timo Glock crashed. Actually, a little bit before where Timo Glock crashed a few years ago in the F1. Gets it pointing in the right direction once again, but he has lost heaps of time and a position in the process to Camber there. Camber up into P7 for the time being. He's now released into some clear air. He can chase down Smoky Devil, who's 3 seconds up the road in third place. And it looks like the Bus Nuts has got past Gypsy George finally in the battle here for P3. These boys have been going at it for some considerable laps here. Gypsy George has actually pulled out a bit of a gap, but it looks like he's made a mistake somewhere on this lap. And the Mutts Nuts has found a way past, but the Porsche, it looks to get this position back here coming through Spoon. He's going to be really on his gearbox trying to get back into that podium spot here in the second half of this race. We're just over halfway through the Tier 2 race here, ladies and gentlemen, for Motive Racing's GTE Championship. Story of this race so far was it was J Palm got a poor start, lost a position to Bowie off the line. Bowie got up into second place. It was Chris Pissock who led us away, but then Bowie had a spin on the first lap, lost a lot of time, ended up retiring from the race. That allowed, oh, as we see there, is that Robbo Baggins going off? Yes, it is. Robbo Baggins was lapping in the 1 minute 41s, was looking like he was on fire there, but it was chasing down the two boys in third and fourth, Gypsy George and the Mutts Nuts, but he's lost it and lost lots and lots of time. A back marker looks like they've unlapped himself as well. That's lucky star there. So Robbo Baggins here struggling. Maybe those tyres starting to get a little bit hot. And he was all that hard work now undone. But George has got back past the Mutts Nuts here while we were watching Robbo losing the car. And he's actually put a bit of space between himself and Mutts Nuts coming through this first sector here into Degner. And yeah, it's pulled out about a second of a gap, so George doing a good job at the moment. J Palm also has taken the lead of the race up ahead of Chris Pissock, so that is a shocker for Chris Pissock. He was obviously holding a 7-second penalty, so we knew that barring some kind of masterclass at the front, he was going to really have to put in a shift if he wanted to win this race with that penalty. But he's actually lost track position as well as the net race lead, which is very unfortunate to see. Chris Pissock still running within 3 seconds of our race leader J Palm though, but it looks like the championship leader is going to extend his advantage at the top of the standings. Comes over the line, lapping in the 1 minute 42s at the moment. Chris, that time around, responded a little bit, actually gained 7/10 on our current race leader. So we see there Ravi saying in the comment section, that is Ravenous, by the way, for you guys. It's saying there that he got smashed and the car threw me in the pit lane with 100 miles an hour. If you want, I can join in the booth. Let's get him into the commentary booth actually. Let's get his perspective on what happened there as we saw Ravi getting all sorts of sideways and into the barriers at the last corner. Just going to very, very quickly get him into the booth, guys. We will have the stream back on as soon as we can. We're just going to quickly grab a word with Ravenous here. But yeah, it was a very, very unfortunate incident there. We saw on the end of the first lap just hitting the inside of the pit wall and getting all over the place. It was looked like a very, very painful incident actually. Yeah, hopefully we should have him in the box here. So back to the action. J Palm currently leading the race by 2.6 seconds. Chris Pissock did have the lead on the track for quite some time in this race, but unfortunately lost the lead a couple of laps ago with a mistake. He's now 2.5 seconds off the lead. He's got a 7-second penalty as well. The Mutts Nuts still running in third. He's got past Gypsy George. Once again, these boys still going at it here. We're going to stick with this battle here as George is now running just over a second behind him. Let's ride on board with the Porsche and see what he's seeing as they come through 130R and up towards the last corner. We've got Ravi in the commentary box with me here. How you doing, my friend, after that one?
Yeah, mate, it's very hard, man. It was very no grip at all, man. No grip at all.
No grip. Well, that is not what you want to hear at all out on the racetrack. We saw through coming through the last corner, you hit the inside of the pit wall, and that looked like a very, very painful incident. Just want to know, did your the force feedback on that wheel? Did it wrench your hands off, or how was it?
Uh, um, well, I had gloves on, luckily. I had gloves on, luckily, so
Thank
it's
good for
great
that.
knowing the
Goodness for that.
gloves.
Thank goodness for that. It looked like a very, very painful incident to say the least, but I'm glad that you're okay after that one.
Yeah, just disqualification. Disqualification, man.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm glad that all's well with you. Currently watching this battle here between the Nuts and Gypsy George. I don't know if you saw, if you've seen any of this on the pit monitor. I know you've just joined me in the commentary box, but what do you make of the battle at the top? Obviously, J Palm leading the race. Chris Pistock did have the lead for a little while, made the mistake. What are you making of this race so far?
Very tough, mate. Very tough. It's not easy to get grip, man. It's not easy to get grip at the beginning.
So
I fought the car, man. I got lap times of two minutes. But ain't happening.
So you heard it here. It's just a very, very difficult surface out there at the moment. Set in October, this current game date here for this race. It's in the morning time, so the sun's still coming up, the track's still getting up to temperature, and a lot of these guys are struggling at the moment for grip out there. Looks like we've got Camber closing the gap here on Smoky Devil, and also George still not letting the Nuts get away, giving him no respite here as they come through turn one. But Nuts has done a great job here of persisting with this, and has found his way past George so many times. Each time they do seem to then trade positions, but what a battle it's been between these two boys for the final podium spot. The Porsche and the Ferrari constantly trading places. It's a joy to watch the clean action going on here at Motive Racing. If you want to get involved here on our Discord channel, then please click the link in the YouTube homepage. All you need to do is click on Motive Racing, go to our homepage, be sure to click the icon in the top right hand corner that says Discord. It's well worth getting involved with. As you also know, Ravi, it's a good clean community we've got going here.
Yep, yep.
But it looks like the gap at the front's come down to 2 seconds in the meantime. Let's have a look here and see what's going on with J Palm and Chris Pistock. 1.8 now on the screen, you can see here, coming through 130R. Does look like Chris has got his head down in the last lap or so. 8 minutes left to go in this session. We're 3/4 of the way through this Tier 2 race. Ladies and gentlemen, be sure to drop a like on this video if you enjoy the action here at Motive. Be sure to join us on Discord and make sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you can be notified every time we're live here on the channel. Got racing throughout the week. GTEs obviously tonight on Mondays, then Tuesday we've got the Clios, on Friday night we've got the GT5 Ginettas, Saturdays the GT3s at 5 o'clock in the evening, followed by the LMP2s at 8. There's so much to get involved with. There's something for everyone here at Motive Racing, no matter what your taste in racing is, or if indeed you're versatile and you like any type of racing, we've got something for you 100%. Come down, have a look. We've got people on the Discord who are always willing to help people get faster and improve and sort out their racing etiquette. It's there's something for everyone, as I say. We welcome drivers of all skill level, of all ages, and yeah, no discrimination here. We all just love racing. That's what we're all here for. As we see here, it looks like George is closing onto the back here of the Nuts once again as they come out of Degner now. But these boys probably know each other pretty well by now. They've been going at it since the green flag at the start of this race. It's been non-stop action as they come into Spoon once again. But the laps are winding down. Where's the race leader, J-Pom? He's coming over the line now to start lap 15 of the race. So 6 minutes on the clock. I make it I think we've got 5 laps left to go. Should have 5 laps left to go. I reckon it's going to be a 19 lap race. So these boys still have got a little fair way to go. Chris Pisser last time around took 2/10 out of the race leader. He's 1.4 seconds off the lead. So at that rate, it looks like he's going to be very close to J Palm. We'll probably have a chance to try and distract him in the mirrors or get into the slipstream once we come into the last couple of laps. He's going just a slightly quicker than the race leader at the moment. As I said, the laps are winding down and time's running out here for him to do anything about it. Still the battle for third place raging on. Looks like Smoky Devil's pulled out a bit of a gap here to Camber. He's actually gone 2/10 faster that last time around. Let's see what it is this time. Smoky comes over the line, does a 1 minute 43.3. Camber comes over with a 43.6. So Smoky Devil at this stage in the race lapping just a tad bit faster here than Camber. Oh, as we see Camber getting sideways there, coming through turn 1, all over the show, gets it going once again, but that's definitely put a nail in his chances of catching up to Smoky. Camber came into this race second in the GTE's Tier 2 here at Motive, but unfortunately for him it really has not gone well at all. Still here, still sat in 7th position in this race, but it's just been a very difficult race for him so far in this one. In the meantime, the battle for the lead looking a little bit closer. Chris Pissock taking another 4/10 out of the race leader, J Palm. Got to remember that Chris does have a penalty. But it does look like Chris has left it maybe a little bit too late here, as we see these boys do appear to be coming up on some traffic. They do, yeah, that is DJ Phil up ahead of them. Let's hope that DJ Phil sees them coming. Yep, he does indeed. The BMW there getting well out of the way for the race leader. And let's hope he does the same here for Chris as well. Yep, there we go. Good stuff there from DJ Phil. Always very sporting. Always very respectful. The gap at the front now almost under a second here. So close between J Palm and Chris. This is for the race victory, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming up onto, I think, what is the penultimate lap. 2 and a bit laps left to go here in Tier 2. Who's going to take this one? Is it going to be J Palm or is it going to be Chris Pissock? Mutts Nuts is back in 3rd place. Looks like he's shooken off the challenge here of Gypsy George. These boys were battling. We're going at it since the start, but it looks like the Mutts Nuts has managed to get that car working for him. Those tyres look very nice now, and doing 1 minute 41s, lapping quicker than the race leader J Palm. So that is some extremely impressive pace here from the Mutts Nuts as the 2 leaders start the penultimate lap of this race. The gap now under a second here between J Palm and Chris Pissock. 9/10 of a second separating them coming through the first sector here. Yeah, last time I checked it was 7 seconds. So 8 seconds. Well, 8-second penalty there for Chris. He looks like he's going to be safe here from the Mutts Nuts, but just about. But 18 seconds between 1st and 3rd. It looks like Chris might. Well, it looks like he'll be alright for 2nd place, but he's not going to take the win here because he's just got too much accumulated on that race time. He's just within a second here of the race leader J Palm, but I don't think he's got any chance here of getting up ahead of him. 1.1 seconds on the track. He's had the pace here this evening, doing 1 minute 41s. He's been lapping consistently quicker than the race leader, but he's not, unfortunately, had the consistency required. But out of Spoon Curve, you can see J Palm's just got to get it around this last lap. He's got a massive lead in the championship now after this one, surely. He's going to gain 5 points on Chris Pissock. He should have over a 20-point lead here coming into round 5 next week. He deserves it as well. He's just been consistent and really has had the pace today as well. Mutts Nuts, just looking down at the timing board, he's doing low 1 minute 41s in 3rd place. lapping quicker than either of the top two now. So what could have been for the Mutts Nuts had he not had a difficult start to the race, he may have been able to challenge for the victory. But what's done is done, and he can surely look to that. He can surely take this as encouragement for the rest of this season. As we see the two leaders here, J Palm and Chris, coming up on some on a back marker now. It looks like it might be Emo Guy just up ahead of them. Up through the S's, J Palm with the leader on the track. Chris is going to push him all the way in this final half a lap here, as we see Emo Guy getting well out of the way there, putting off onto the side of the road. Red Reaper will be absolutely gutted to see what's maybe happening. It's not Emo Guy, sorry, apologies for that. It wasn't Emo Guy. That was the... no, hold on. Yeah, Lucky Star, apologies for that. It was Lucky Star. So, regardless, back with our race leaders, it's J Palm still showing away, 0.4 of a second as we come into Spoon Curve. Looks like he's going to bring this one home for the victory here at Sakitto for round 4. Chris is stuck to the task very admirably, but unfortunately just hasn't had the consistency in this race when it mattered, as we come into 130R for the final time. And up round to receive a hero's welcome here as he comes round the last corner now. J Palm is going to take the victory here at Sakitto for round 4 of Motive Racing's GTE Championship Tier 2 and extend his championship lead. At the top of the standings, J Palm is our winner. Chris Pissock put in a valiant effort in second place. It looks like the Mutts Nuts is going to come round in our final podium spot after having a fantastic race-long battle there with Gypsy George. George only a couple of seconds down the road, but the Mutts Nuts completes the podium. Good driving from him. George over the line in 4th. Robbo Baggins in the end was reeling them in at the end there, put in some fantastic lap times. Our debutant there in the Motive Racing League, putting in some stonkers. In fact, was the only man lapping in the 1:40s. I think he got fastest lap of the race. We'll have to double check that once the classification comes up, but I believe Robbo Baggins on his debut here at Motive has clocked in the fastest lap of the race. Smoky Devil is coming around the final sector now, up the back straight in 6th position. Good showing there from him. Camber unfortunately had an absolute mare tonight, was second in the championship coming into this race, but he's not going to be second anymore. With Chris Pissock finishing P2, he will most definitely jump him into second place in the championship. We'll have to wait and see what the standings are like after the racing finishes tonight. Obviously we've got Tier 1 coming up in a few moments time, but it's going to be Smoky Devil in 6th. Camber comes round in 7th position. It looks like Hyper Drifter is coming out the back straight up towards 130R now. I believe he is the last car on the lead lap, I think. Here he comes. Hyper Drifter making his debut here at Motive. Likewise Robbo Baggins out of the last corner now. Good performance here for his first drive. Nice job. So ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap for Tier 2. J Palm taking the victory. Chris Pissock and the Mutts Nuts rounding out the podium finishes. We're going to see if we can grab a quick word with these three boys. If possible, we're going to get them into the commentary box and see what they have to say after that race. It was a pretty interesting race from the top two. Obviously the penalties from the race director made it a little bit less dramatic than we would have liked, but still a good battle between those boys, keeping it clean, keeping it tidy, and that's what you want to see ultimately when you're racing here in sim racing here at Motive Racing. You just want to see a good clean race, decided fairly. In fact, actually, I'm not sure if we got time to. I think that we've got to start Tier 1 in a few minutes' time. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologise for this. We probably don't have enough time to do interviews tonight. I'm sorry for that. We will get that sorted out next time out. But it has been an excellent race here from J Palm, Chris Pissock, and the Mutts Nuts. Fantastic performance there from J Palm taking the victory, extending his championship lead. It looks like Robbo Baggins did set the fastest lap of the race on the last lap by 600ths of a second. His fastest lap was quicker than J Palm, so fantastic from him. Great performance from everybody. Thank you everyone for joining us live for Tier 2. Be sure to join us in a few moments time for Tier 1. We'll be going live in a few minutes. We will see you guys very, very shortly. Peace. See you in a bit.